we have good people in this law firm, and it's not because I'm saying they're good people, because they are doing what good people do. They're rolling up their sleeves, they're working to make other people's lives that are not so fortunate as theirs better.
We have different practice areas, but the collaboration can be pretty magical.
What a client is going to know immediately from me is that I'm here. If I tell you that I'm doing your estate planning, I'm doing it, okay? And you're going to find that in all the groups, okay? That's how we operate. If I tell you I'm doing your tax return, guess what? I did it. I didn't just sign it, I did it. If I tell you I'm going to help you get started in your business and form your corporation and sell your business or whatever, I did it, okay? And so that sets us apart, quite honestly.
My name's Andrew Miller, go by Drew. And really my responsibility to this law firm is pretty much litigation, whether that's criminal litigation or civil litigation. Generally, it's kind of focused on criminal litigation of late. There's just been more need for that. But that's probably my responsibilities, is to make sure that if a case doesn't resolve itself by settlement or by other means, that there's always somebody available to try that case, whether it's a civil case or a criminal case. First job out of law school was a deputy prosecuting attorney, and then I was the chief deputy prosecuting attorney for Benton County. And then I went into private practice with Sean Keith in 1995. And so this firm has existed since 1995, and we've kind of gone into it from a standpoint that we wanted to be a part of the community that we were a part of. I'm probably confident that as a criminal defense attorney, I've tried as many or more than any of the attorneys, particularly in Benton County. And that's what people come to me for, is to try cases. We take a case from a standpoint that a criminal case, that our client is innocent. You know, and innocence requires work, and that's what we do. We don't assume things in this office. We make sure that when we have a client that has been accused of something, we take that client at face value and we work to essentially prove their innocence. A lot of times, the only way that that's accomplished is through a jury trial and a jury making a decision. And so I think what separates this law firm from all the other law firms is that when you're facing that ultimate conclusion, that facing that judgment by your peers, that this law firm has the experience to accomplish the goals that are needed. I mean, we're a result-oriented business. Our job is to win. And I think our track record suggests that we're very good at that, particularly in the courtroom. We have enough confidence that that's always our ultimate goal, to get into the courtroom, and quite frankly, that puts the other party in a position that they know that they're going to have to work to keep up with us. Sometimes they do, most of the times they don't.
My name is Sean Keith. I'm a partner at the firm, and I practice in the areas of personal injury and what we call mass tort and class action. I've been fortunate over the last 3 years to have an associate who I work with on a daily basis, and Anna and I work on our cases together.
If we're going to be fighting for someone and fighting for their rights, it's important that we have a face and a name, you know, a face to go with the name of who we're fighting for. And it's important to me to know that I can have that kind of rapport with my client, that you know me and I know you. And when you call up here, you can talk to me. When you email me, you're going to get a response from me. That's the way Sean and I operate.
And I think one of the most critical mistakes that people can make when they're in a car wreck is a simple one, and that's trusting the insurance company. If you think that that insurance company who is insuring the other driver is going to be fair and is looking out for you over their bottom line, it's just quite frankly naive. I'm the guy who likes to believe and look for the very best in everyone, but I've been doing this for almost 20 years, and the fact of the matter is, you need someone representing you when you've been injured by someone else. And sometimes you need someone representing you against your own insurance company. Because for an insurance company, remember, the bottom line is the most important thing.
And another thing is the fact that when you've been injured, you've got enough on your plate. You're very stressed out. You may be hurting, and just quite frankly, you don't have the energy and the time to deal with an insurance company who's trying to get you to settle quickly, settle for less than what it's worth, your claim is worth. And that's where we step in. We can take that stress off of you so you can focus on getting better and focus on your health and let us take care of the logistics and the legal part of it. We have experience dealing with insurance companies. We know their tactics. We know how they operate. It's settle quickly, try to get you to settle for as little as possible. And we try to step in and make sure that you're treated fairly.
Mass tort is drug and device cases. Prescription drug in specific. I always have to say prescription drug. But when you have significant side effects to a prescription drug that the pharmaceutical company doesn't warn you about or knew about and decided to go ahead and put it on the market. I also handle class actions, and class actions are a little different than drug and device cases. Perhaps you had a stock, several shares of a stock, and it turns out they were cooking the books. And you're a shareholder, but you're not going to bring that lawsuit against this giant corporation on your own. And so what you do is you represent a group of people, everybody that owns that share of stock. People would be surprised, or maybe they wouldn't, but last year, for example, there were over 2,500 violations by nursing homes in Arkansas. Not just violations, not health code violations, violations in which people had been harmed, seriously harmed, some of which led to their death. This is just an area of practice of mine that I feel strongly about, that's important, because the only way we ensure that good care for your grandmother is done is to hold them accountable when they don't provide good care. And that's what I do.
I'm Kristen Pollock, and my practice consists of crisis management. I like to refer to it that way sometimes because most people only call me when they're having a bad day. But I help people when they're going through a crisis, whether it be a divorce or a custody issue or something related to their employment, if they've lost their job, if they're not being paid what they're due, or criminal defense, if they've been arrested or a family member's been arrested. You know, every person knows someone who's gone through a divorce, who has a terrible story to tell about a custody fight, who has that terrible ex. You know, everybody knows someone who's been there and done that. But I like to be the person that can really talk to my clients and tell them what to realistically expect and forget everything they've heard and give them some, again, solid direction about what they need to do. Well, I was raised up as a public defender, and so the first 5 years of my law practice, all I did was criminal defense, and I ended up specializing in defense of people accused of sexual crimes, which are incredibly complicated, always painful. You know, to be wrongfully accused of such a thing can devastate a person and a whole family. And I'm trained as an ad litem, certified in domestic relations cases, and an ad litem is an attorney that represents children in divorce cases and is the voice of the child, but also can be sort of the voice of reason to talk about what is best for the child, what's in the best interest of the child, and to relate that information to the judge. And so I think that one of the benefits that Mary Schneider and I offer to our clients is that we do have more of a family-centered view, because we know that after the day in court, there will still be a family that has to survive. I mean, after this court battle is over, the child still has to be raised, and it has to be raised by both parents. And so I think we begin with the end in mind.
My name is Mary White Schneider, and I am a family law lawyer. I practice both in the family division and the probate division. In addition to that, I am a certified ad litem and have done that for many, many years. On top of that, I am also a certified mediator, and I've been mediating since 2000. Anything I do touches a family, if it's a guardianship of a grandchild or if it's a contested family situation, that the perspectives of knowing it from a child's perspective as a child's attorney as well as the attorney perspective gives me a lot of insight and perspective in my mediation practice. Mediation is an opportunity for litigants to try to take a hold of their problems and be in charge of their own resolution, as opposed to what I like to say, as opposed to a person in a black robe telling you how to run your life. In mediation, as a mediator, I am there to act as a facilitator, helping parties who may have not talked to each other about a problem at all, or have had limited or very contentious conversation. I'm there to try to help them get rid of the toxicity as much as they can and get down to the meat of what is really troubling them. I do divorces, I do custody cases, I also do guardianships involving children or the elderly. I get a lot of referrals from other lawyers, frankly, because of the approach that I take with my clients in getting to the resolution. That doesn't mean I don't go in a courtroom, because oftentimes you have to do that. But it does mean that I'm going to encourage my clients to look at all other means possible before going into a courtroom.
My name is Steve Butler. I'm a partner here at the law firm. I've been an attorney for about 22 years. I'm also a CPA, been a CPA for 25 years. I'm in charge of the estate planning sections of the law firm, the business section of the law firm, which is a pretty big category, in the taxation section of the law firm. I've got clients today that I picked up 22 years ago, okay? So recurring clients and clients I see all the time, that's part of the business practice. Small business, we all know, and you're hearing it every day, small business runs this country. That's what makes this country thrive. So you're getting ready to start a small business. Do you need to incorporate? Is it an LLC, a partnership? Are you a sole proprietorship? Most people have no idea, right? Well, we can walk you through those steps. In addition to just developing the business practice, how do you get out of this practice? And I always tell my clients, or ask my clients, what's your plan to leave? Succession planning, which also sort of folds over into the estate planning side and the tax planning side. Succession planning for small businesses, how do you get out? I mean, 50 to 70% of all small businesses never make it to the second generation. Why is that? No succession planning. I'm in charge of the tax practice for the firm. Now, what separates us in this category from other law firms is there are very few law firms in Northwest Arkansas that have a tax practice, period. Okay, most of them refer that out. So what makes us different is I'm one of 2 attorneys in the firm that is also a CPA. That narrows that category a whole lot more. So from the tax practice, we have really 3 parts. We do tax planning, tax preparation, and tax litigation. The last part first, tax litigation. Everybody hates to open their mailbox and get that letter from the IRS or the Department of Finance Administration. It just makes you have a sick feeling, okay? Well, hopefully you never have that, but if you get into a tax controversy, a tax law firm or the tax section of our law firm can help you, and that's what we do. Tax preparation, most people are quite surprised when they realize that this law firm prepares a serious number of tax returns, okay? And they go, well, why shouldn't I go to the national tax practice down the street, or why shouldn't my CPA firm? They can do it. I'm not saying they can't do it. It has nothing to do with that. But the biggest complaint when clients come to my office, usually it's after a tax controversy that I've helped them with, that we end up doing their tax returns in the future. But what happens is everybody complains that I boxed my tax stuff up and I took it to my preparer, and my preparer gave me a return, and I didn't feel like I got any advice. And that's because they're not built that way, okay? Most accounting firms, and certainly the national tax program firms, they aren't built to give you advice. They're built to give you a product. You give them information, they give you a product. We plan. That's the tax planning part of this. So a lot of my clients, I don't just see them once a year for tax returns. I see them once a month. I may see them once a quarter. They should not be surprised by what their tax return looks like when they get it, and I shouldn't be surprised either. But everybody that walks in our door has a need for estate planning. Most of them don't know that. The misconception is that somehow I'm not old enough to need estate planning, or I don't have enough wealth to need estate planning. And that just simply isn't true. Estate planning is really all about control. I want to control what happens to my property while I'm alive. I want to control what happens to me, protect my family. That's incapacity planning. And so what I ask people is, hey, if you can't make health decisions for yourself, who makes them? And are you sure? And do you want to leave that to chance? So that's about control over estate planning during your life is incapacity planning, and everybody needs it. It has nothing to do with wealth.
I'm Justin Cavalier. I'm a lawyer and a CPA here at the law firm, and I do tax work, I do estate planning, and I do civil litigation. I'm a newer associate here, but I've covered a lot of ground in the time that I've been here. So I've learned a lot, and I've been able to contribute a lot to this law firm. Well, I think I bring another skill set whenever I'm analyzing any type of situation, particularly with for tax planning, obviously, and even with estate planning, I can see potential tax implications and understand what a person's financial planner might be worried about, or what their own CPA might be worried about and thinking about whenever we're looking at a estate plan or tax planning or tax preparation.
Hi, my name is Nick Arnold, and I primarily specialize in banking law, which encompasses what I tell everybody is probably the most boring part of the law here. I do everything from banking regulatory work to loan transactions to the bad stuff, the foreclosures, the bankruptcies, that kind of fun stuff. I think the community respects this firm. We've got a long tradition of helping different charities, being involved in different organizations, boards, charitable organizations, school boards, you name it, we've done it. So we're part of the Rogers community, and we always will be.
My name is Andrew Sheeler, and my primary practice here at the firm is focused on criminal defense. In addition to criminal defense, I do a little bit of additional civil litigation, but my primary focus is criminal defense. Normally people come to me when they have been charged with any kind of criminal offense whatsoever. This can kind of range from anything from a minor traffic ticket to a basic misdemeanor and all the way up to felonies and other serious crimes. Generally, people should contact me any kind of time they're going to be dealing with the criminal system. If it's a minor issue, sometimes one of the biggest problems is that people just don't do minor things that they need to do to get their problems taken care of. By coming to us or coming to someone like me, we're able to kind of walk you through that process. Sometimes it's best to even just have somebody hold your hand to make sure you don't miss something basic in the system that turns a very minor issue into something more serious. With regard to more serious crimes, with regard to felonies, really it's best to have counsel because you need to make sure that you're getting a fair shake in the system. When you come to us, obviously our primary goal is to do everything that we can do to get you out from underneath what's ever going on in your life. That could be as simple as making it go away if you're wrongly accused, or really just making sure that you're getting fair representation and a fair shake in the legal system. I think the biggest part of my job is taking people who come in here and are dealing with probably the worst thing that they've ever dealt with in their entire life. It really may not be a huge issue, but to them at that time it certainly is the biggest problem that they're facing, and probably the biggest problem that they've ever faced in their entire life. I think that my biggest goal is to make sure that when people come in here with that feeling, that they leave here knowing that regardless of what's going on, regardless of how severe that it is, that we're going to do everything to make sure that they're comfortable, that they feel good about where they're at, and to make sure that they feel good about their representation and that they're going to get a fair shake.